Have you ever come across Rainworld's dev tools while messing around in the menu? No? Okay. Well, I made a guide on how to use them anyway. By the end of this, you should know how I changed the outskirts from looking like this to this. But first, you can't use the dev tools without applying them, which you do by going to the remix option, selecting the dev tools there, and clicking on Apply Mods. And there you go. But now we'll stay in the menu because by clicking Shift and N simultaneously, you can move around the background layers of the menu, the mouse. Obviously this isn't the easiest to use when the spacebar is used to open the map and select the buttons on the screen. DevTools can also be used in cutscenes. M is used to activate them. Left click allows you to move the keyframes around. J adds keyframes, K removes keyframes, O changes the depth of the keyframes, L offsets all of the keyframes, and I plays back the cutscene. The only problem with this is that it has no save button. And now we're on to the in-game dev tools. Finally! As there are a lot of these, so first let's run through the easy ones. O is used to activate and deactivate the dev tools in-game. S speeds up time and A slows it down. B teleports the player to the mouse, W drags the player to the mouse, F drags bat flies, B drags everything else, and G flings vultures into the sky. Pressing E makes all the creatures in the current region you're in move to the room you're currently in, which can become quite chaotic. U reloads all of the sounds in games, and I brings up a log of all the sounds played. Q fills a food pit, R restarts the current cycle. I've accidentally pressed this a lot. And N offsets the camera around the position of the mouse. 0 sets the rain timer to 0, and 9 resets it to full. And 8 kills all the creatures in the room you're in. And now we can move on to the ones that require more explanation. P is used to show if a certain type of creature can safely access a certain tile. For example, green lizards can only access tiles next to the ground, but centipedes can access all tiles next to a wall, and vultures can access any tile that isn't next to a wall. K brings up a log of all the actions taken by the game. For example, handling what happens when a sea leech dies, and migration of scavengers across the map. And M brings up general information like the total amount of bat flies, lizards, and all total creatures in the region, the rain timer, the dynamic difficulty, and the relationships between the player and different creatures in the game for each region and overall. Also, you can see the coordinates of the tile at the position of the mouse. And now for the main DevTool interface, which is a lot. So here we go. Main DevTool interface is brought up by clicking H and is made up of 6 pages. Room settings, objects, sounds, the map, triggers and dialogue, as well as a save button and room template. The room settings page have different settings that affect the room you're in. Let's start from the top. GO, whatever that means, affects how the room reacts at the end of the rain timer. Setting it to rain causes rain in the room, flood causes the room to flood, rain and flood makes the room rain and flood, having it set to none makes nothing happen. Thunder speeds up the thunder in a room, but doesn't affect the player at all like rain, and Eerie Blizzard applies the rain effect, the blizzard on top, which is used for the Saints campaign in Downpour. Rain intensity and rumble intensity affect the strength of rain at the end of the cycle, 100 being maximum strength and 0 removing the rain and shaking altogether. Ceiling drips affect the amount of ceiling drips at the start of the cycle. Wave speed, length and amplitude affect the speed, length and amplitude of waves on water. Rollback length and amplitude affect the rollback of the waves, which can do this. Clouds affect the amount of clouds in the sky and the shadows cast on the ground. Grime affects the intensity of grime on tile. Random item density affects the number of items on the ground. And random item spear percentage affects how many of those items have a chance to be a spear. Water light affects the ripple light effect on the background from water. Palette changes the main colour of the room. The effect colours change the colours of the effects in the room. Fade palette changes the fade colour of a room, which allows the room to be a mixture of two different palettes, the main palette and the fade palette, by different amounts for every screen. The effects library allows different effects to be applied in the room. For example, zero gravity, lighting, and decoration. Though most effects need the room to be saved and reloaded by starting the cycle to be applied. Also, some effects don't work for some rooms, like zero G not working in outside rooms, and some effects don't work properly together. Templates apply set templates to the room, and the save button saves all of the changes made to the room. The objects page allows you to add, remove and customize objects such as gameplay, with things such as invisible markers that have effects on other parts of the game and large groups of objects, consumables which can be eaten or used by the player, objects and decorations from inside 5 Pebble. That place creeps me out. Decorations such as light or background objects, tutorials from the start of the game, and other things. The Sounds tab allows you to add, remove and change all of the audio in there. BKG Drone, whatever that means, allows you to change the volume of the threat music and sample different levels of threat, like this. The Triggers tab allows you to place different triggers in a room and modify what they trigger. These are used in-game for causing music to play in certain rooms or when entering a region, as well as other things such as text appearing on a screen or the Overseer appearing in certain rooms. And the Dialogue tab is used for dialogue. That's it. Some of the effects from changing things with the DevTool interface will be able to be seen immediately, some will be seen when re-entering the room, and some of the effects will be applied when restarting the cycle. Now that all that's done, here's something. Now here's an example of what the DevTools can be used for.